Hi everybody, I'm Susan Mulvihill. Welcome back to our garden in Spokane, Washington. And you probably have noticed I'm not in the vegetable garden for a change of pace. And that's because I'm embarking on a big project in our back garden, and that is redoing this landscape bed. I'm both excited about it and a little bit worried, but I know I can do it. And I'm going to break up the video into two parts, one for this week and one for next week, because I don't like making super long videos and you guys are busy, so I want to give it to you in manageable chunks. But did you know that fall is a great time for embarking on projects like this, planting new perennials, dividing them, and all sorts of things? That's because the weather is cooler, so it's easier on the plants and on the gardener. It's also a great time for those plants to develop new roots so that they can hit the ground running in the spring. And most importantly, I think, is that you can get screaming deals on plants at your local garden centers and nurseries. And you know, we all like to save a buck, right? So I want to start out by giving you a little bit of background as to why our backyard is landscaped the way it is, and then we'll go from there. Bill and I live on 5 acres. When we bought our property, there was nothing on it aside from one tiny pine tree. Over the course of many years, we've had fun landscaping it. Since today's topic will take place in our backyard, I wanted to explain how it's set up. Initially, we had a big lawn. The problem was that it would look great for a month or two in the spring, and then the lawn would die every single year. We watered it, fertilized it, and aerated it, and it still died. I think the reason this happened is because we have a full basement, and when the builder had it excavated, they moved all of that hard pan plus some rocks to our backyard. I think that's why the lawn just wouldn't grow. In 2003, Bill removed the lawn and decided to create 2 island beds. We've been growing native shrubs, small trees, and perennials in them. The paths around the beds have heavy-duty weed block fabric underneath a few inches of bark mulch. No more lawn mowing. The beds looked reasonably nice, but 2 years ago we decided to frame each of the beds with steel edging. What a difference that has made. In late 2022, we were dealing with a strange winter. Our weather essentially went from summer straight into winter, so our trees didn't drop their leaves. In early 2023, we had a big snowstorm. Because our trees still had leaves, the snow weighed down the branches, which broke many of them. One of those trees was the hawthorn in our small island bed. It looked awful. The great news is that over the past 2 years, it has been recovering quite well. And that hawthorn tree is the anchor of our small island bed, which is the focus for today. Here are some photos so you can see how the bed currently looks. So why do I want to take on a project like this? Well, I might be nuts. I could easily turn a blind eye to some problems that I've been seeing develop. But no, there's things that need to be addressed, and as soon as possible. First of all, there are some plants that got way larger than I thought they would. Some plants are blocking the sprinklers. That's not good for the rest of the plants. Some plants have become thugs, and I'll show you what those are. And there are other plants I am just not happy with. And you know, if the gardener isn't happy, that's not a good thing. Whenever you take on any kind of a project like this, or if you just want to add some new plants to your garden, there's a few things you need to keep in mind first. Certainly, choosing the right plant for the right place. And so this involves taking into account the hardiness zones that it is well suited to. How tall are the plants going to grow? And boy, is it windy today. You want to take into account how wide they're going to get. How much light are they going to get? All of these things are really important. And one thing that is key on my mind today is Oh, Susan, do not cut through any of the sprinkler lines because I will be in big trouble. So how did I start out this project? The very first thing I did is I mapped out the bed. It's just a rough diagram, but you can see which end is facing east. I noted where the sprinklers are, and that's indicated with a little star and a number. I noted where the hawthorn tree is located, and those dotted lines are indicating roughly where the sprinkler lines are. And I'm going to be extremely mindful of that. Bill is great with putting in sprinkler systems and all of that, but you know, I don't want to give him any extra work, that's for sure. The next thing I did is I noted how the sunlight hits the bed throughout the day. Some areas stay shady all day, others get a bit of early morning or afternoon sun only. I'm just getting ready to mark where the sprinklers are. I made a list of the problem plants which I want to completely remove from the bed. And I looked at other plants that I still like, but I either want to relocate them to a better area in the bed or to a completely different area of our landscape. Now this sprinkler is pretty easy to see, but I still want a visual reminder that it's here, because then I can envision where the sprinkler line is, which goes that way. Some of the sprinklers are very hard to see, so this is going to be a good thing for me to stop and do first. You'd never know there was a sprinkler in there. Okay, let's start looking at my problem plants. So this is bee balm, or monarda. And yes, it's a fabulous plant. It attracts so many pollinators. So of course I love it, but it is a thug in this bed. I've got it planted all over the rest of our landscape. It's out in our front flower garden. It's in our pollinator garden. It's in some of the back beds. So it's not like I'm removing something that is so valuable that it should stay here. Also, notice how tall this is. Now I'm 5'7". They are pretty much getting close to my height. And there is a sprinkler down there. You can't see it, but you can imagine who's hogging the water. Or at least this is one of the problem plants. Near the base of the bee balm, you can see a bunch of hardy geraniums in here. They are trying to take over the planet and this bed. So this is something that I need to either dramatically cut back on, knowing it will spread again and need to be cut back again, or I'm going to attempt to take all of it out of there. I've got two other problem plants here. First of all, the plant with the lavender flowers is Russian sage, or Perovskia. And the problem is, it is coming up all over the place. It flops over, it blocks the sprinkler, and it just looks tacky the way it's growing in here. Now what I think I'm going to do is I'll try to get a couple of really nice clumps of it and find another location in our landscape for it. But it really is a problem where I've got it planted, and that's partly the gardener's fault. The other thing that is a problem is a plant that I absolutely adore. This is northern sea oat, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I love how it wafts in the breeze. And the seeds feed the birds. They look beautiful in the fall. So I have mixed emotions about this one. But I'm not going to toss it. What I'm going to do is dig up a couple nice clumps and put them in a different part of the landscape where they're not going to cause a problem. And I probably could take a clump of this and plant it farther off where it's not blocking the sprinkler. You'll notice there's a bunch more bee balm in here. Those are coming out. And then there's also quite a pretty flower. This is a perennial type of sunflower. I've had it planted in here for ages. It spreads like crazy, and that's the problem. So as I start taking things out and clearing this area, I'll see if perhaps I could move a bit farther back. But I do have more of this in the big island bed that way. So it's not like I'd be eliminating something completely. They do attract a lot of pollinators, and so they are very important. Now, it might be hard to tell, but there's actually a rugosa rose in here that I planted a very long time ago. The variety is Blanc Double de Coubert, and it is quite tall. It's super rangy, and as I was looking at it this spring, I thought, boy, this thing really needs to be cut back. I didn't get around to doing it, but what happens is there'll be all of this branch structure, and then it starts coming out on the ends. So what I'm going to do this year is to trim off a few branches, nothing dramatic, and then in the spring I will do the major trimming back, because I could tell by the way it grew this year that it would tolerate that cutting it back, because it really needs it. I do want to hang on to the rose though. Now, in a moment of disgust, a couple of months ago, I trimmed back these 3 Achillea plants. I don't remember what the cultivar name was. It might have been paprika, and it starts out kind of a goldy rust color, and then it bleaches out into a really ugly color, to be honest. Now, I originally bought these plants along with the heuchera that's right next to it, that has kind of similar coloration, and I thought, boy, those are really going to look great together. Well, these plants look great for like a week, and then they bleach out, and so they're going out of here. They're heading for the compost bin, to be honest. So the last troublemaker in this bed is Campanula Pritchard's variety. I bought it ages ago from our local rosarium, and I think they are gorgeous because they have these lovely little lavender flowers. You can see that the leaves are bleached out, and I think it's just because we've had such a hot, dry summer. But I certainly didn't realize they were going to grow at least 3 feet tall. They flop all over everything, even though I give them supports. They have spread like crazy in the bed. And it is a classic example of a plant that has been put in the wrong place. So that was my bad, and it is going to come out. Now, I just spotted another thug plant as I was pointing out the campanula to you. This is Mexican palm sedge. It is an ornamental grass. I love ornamental grasses, but this one is trying to take over the planet. I planted them in this bed a long time ago, and within about 2 years I realized it was trying to go everywhere, and so anytime I came across little volunteer plants, I was yanking them out. Well, I can see a bunch more in this bed, so as I am pruning things back or digging things out, whenever I spot one of these, out it comes. Okay, I guess I can't stall any longer. It's time for me to get to work. So I just wanted to show you the types of tools I'm going to be using. I've got my Cobra Head weeder, which I certainly can use for weeds, but I'm thinking this would be nice for getting out some of the root systems from the soil. I've got some pruners, some little snips. I've got some loppers, head shears, and also some battery operated pruners, because I can see that being needed. Pair of gloves, some scissors. You just never know what you're going to need. I'm also going to use my kneeler bench, because that is going to save my hips and thighs and back, etc. So I'm going to take good care of myself. And I've chosen a smaller type of a shovel because I'm so paranoid about cutting through a sprinkler line. I thought this would make me slow down and be more careful. I've decided to start tackling the bee balm just by cutting off the stalks, but leaving the base in so I can see where I need to dig to get the roots out, hopefully. And as I was showing you plants around the perimeter of the bed, I was seeing bee balm all over the place. So I thought I'll do this for all of those first, and then move on to other plants. Well, that's a start. Yeah, I know, it's the tip of the iceberg, but hey, you gotta start somewhere. Well, I've gotten about 95% of the bee balm, and I'm very pleased about that. Again, I'm not getting the roots out because I'm trying to open things up so I can see where I'm working and what I need to dig up. Good morning, everybody. So it's the next day. Yesterday I was pretty careful not to overdo it, but I was covered with dirt from head to toe by the time I stopped. So today I'm wearing even grubbier pants. But I wanted to give you a quick update on how things are going. So I'm happy to report I was able to get all of the roots out for the hardy geraniums and the bee balm. I also got the Russian sage out of there, and you would not believe how large the roots were. I had no idea, and that explains why it's been so persistent over the last 20 years. If you're wondering what all of this green stuff is here, those are all grape hyacinths, and those bulbs have spread like crazy over the last few years, and they're certainly a joy in the spring, but that's a bit much. However, I'm just working around them, and if I occasionally dig up something, I'm just not even worrying about it because there's probably, I don't know, 400 bulbs in there. So I think I can spare 5 if I have to toss them. I have not removed the northern sea oats because I'm just leaving it there until I decide where it's going. It will be moved either to another location more to the center of the bed or to a different spot within our backyard. So I'm going to keep working at it. I'll give you a quick update and then we'll call it good for this week. Boy, do I know how to have fun or what. This is a massive project. I suspected it at the start, but I am going to see it through. So I did make some good progress over the last 2 hours, and I wanted to show you that real quickly. Now I know I said that I was going to work on the shady side of the bed this morning, but I decided to do a little bit of the sunny side too. So this is the southern edge of the bed. And I was able to clear roots and plants all the way back to here and along down to this spot where this rose is. You can now see there's a rose in there. And these plants are a type of milkweed, and so I probably will keep them, but I might need to move one of them a little bit farther away from the sprinkler. But I'm just going this far back to the perennial sunflowers because I just want to take a look at everything when I think I'm done and decide if I want to take them back a little bit further. I did get most of the western end of the bed cleaned up, but if you look in the background there, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of green, and those are a mix of Mexican palm sedge plants. Yes, I found the source. And also hardy geraniums, so I'm going to have to really attack them tomorrow. I did clean up this area of the bed too, but now I need to dig up the roots of the Campanula Pritchard's variety. Probably will dig up some catmint because that's trying to take over, and just work my way this way. Okay, so that concludes part 1 of my landscape redo video. So what's on tap for part 2 next week? First of all, I'm going to show you, fingers crossed, a nice cleaned out bed. I'll show you what I saved, and then I'm going to show you the wonderful plants that I've been buying at all of these great garden center and nursery closeout sales. Oh my gosh, I've got some real beauties here, so I'll explain why I purchased them, and then I'm going to go through the process of deciding where they go in the bed and plant them. Thanks so much for watching today, everybody. Happy gardening.